welcome to a very special episode of the 12th Man podcast. We're delighted to be joined by former Derry City favourite and current Grimsby player Cameron McJannet. We're going to be talking about Cameron's experiences from underage all the way up until he moved to Derry from Stoke City in 2020. Obviously, talking about his 4 years at Derry City, lots of great memories on there, and the gut-wrenching moment that he decided to leave for Grimsby Town. And we're going to be catching up with Cameron and how he's been getting on at Grimsby. So, Cameron, delighted to have you on. How have you been?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Yeah, all good. My ends. Thanks for having me on. Yeah.
Don't worry now if you anybody watching, because there's plenty watching, you can always put a comment on or ask Cameron a question, and we can try and get it on the screen for you. So, Cameron, obviously, a lot of people that are watching will know you from your Derry City experiences, but you had to end up at Derry some way. So let's go back and find out the Cameron McJannet story before he landed at the Brandywell, because you obviously grew up in a place called Leighton Buzzard, MK Dons area. You're obviously a Luton fan because you played at Luton for a lot of time at underage before moving to Stoke. So, I mean, what was the main interest when you were a kid playing football? You know, did you just take it like a fish out of water and then it went from strength to strength?
Well, it was more being a little brother and the big brother just smashing balls at me, to be honest. And then I think as I got a bit older and a bit bigger, I started holding my own. I think that was probably it. How the football journey really started from the very beginning, and then went from there. And being a kid in a Luton and everything like that, just kept going from there. But it was just the big brother kicking balls at me, really.
What was it like when you played underage at Luton? Because me being a coach, I've been over at some clubs in England, and it's quite cutthroat, especially at underage. You know, if you have a few bad games, you're moved on, and you can find yourself out of a club and bouncing from club to club. Whereas kind of here in Derry, clubs are kind of really trying to hang on to players because there's obviously bigger sharks in Belfast and so on and so forth. Whereas over in England, there's such a big population and players can get moved on quite a lot, especially at young age. So you can take a lot of setbacks. What was it like for you, kind of from sort of 9, 10, 11 up until you were sort of an adult?
Yeah, well, Luton were really, really good. They really valued their academy because I signed for Luton as like a 7 or 8 year old, and then they got relegated to the conference, and the academy was meant to go under, but they kept it going. So they were pretty impressive how they kept it going. So they always felt like they valued you, but yeah, there was also always, even because Luton in the conference with all the most teams around were bigger than Luton at the time. So kids always wanted to go on to bigger and better things, and then so Luton, it felt like they always valued you as a young kid, but there was also that cutthroat aspect as well, where you knew that if I'm not good enough, you're done. Whereas all your mates were enjoying themselves playing Saturday football, Sunday football, and didn't really matter. So I guess that was one of the big differences. Yeah. So, but at Luton, we also always had, however young you were, you had a year's contract. So that was good. You knew at least if you signed for the season, you had a football at Luton for a season. So Luton were quite good, but yeah, there was always that cutthroat thing around.
Yeah, and what was the kind of environment of Luton? Was it, comfortable? Was it, a place that you enjoyed your football? And I know you're obviously a very big Luton fan, so you've got some sort of attachment there to that club. You obviously spent all those years there.
Yeah, well, spending all those years is what made me a proper Luton fan, really, because I grew up an Ipswich fan.
Oh, did you?
Going to my dad took us to every Ipswich game, and obviously spent half the weekend at Ipswich, half the weekend at Luton. But when we were going to Ipswich, my mum and granddad were going to Luton, and then if there was an Ipswich away game, we were going to the Luton game. So it was always Ipswich and Luton. And then I think just spending all the years there at Luton slowly, by the time I was 17, 18, Luton became just not like first, really. Yeah. So, but no, yeah, the environment as a kid at Luton was great. I remember having times where you think, oh, this is for me, because you're giving up so much at a young age. Like rushing off to school and rushing off after school to training an hour away and all this and the other. And it's a lot. Obviously, looking back, it wasn't serious, but it felt very serious compared to all your mates going for a kick around at their training. And I obviously had moments where it was just for me, but luckily I stuck at it. And other than those rare moments, it was Luton had, for kids anyway, it was a great environment. They always wanted to make you better, and they get you humble as well. So I'd say as a kid the environment was really good at Luton.
Yeah, and it's one of those clubs at the moment as well that's going from strength to strength. Obviously, we were in the Premier League last year, made a really good fuss of it, struck a lot of people's hearts, and I think everybody was kind of Luton's second team last year. Was they were looking for them to stay up, and obviously just fell short. But great infrastructure in place now, and probably from when you were there as a kid, they know it's probably completely changed. They're a club on the up, and the money they would have got from the Premier League last year, they reinvest and come back again. It must be really pleasing for you as a fan to see where they're going to.
Yeah, so it was amazing to see. Really, I left as a 17-year-old in League Two, and then they just went up and up and up. So, and then when they got to the Premier League, I'll never forget it, to be honest, because it was quite a bad day. We just lost to Sligo away, and my whole family were at the play. Everyone I knew, basically, everyone I knew from home was at Wembley. And Luton going up, so I'll never forget that, unfortunately. It's great. It was unreal to see. And I'll be honest, I thought anything more than 5 points in the Premier League is bonus, but they held their own and gave it a right go, so made it even better.
That's it. They were a couple of minutes away from that big scalp against Liverpool at home, weren't they? That was one of the big ones I remember last year. But it always struck me, Cameron, the first time I met you was on a shop. I was working, I think I served you or something like that, and that's how we kind of got chatting and friendly, and obviously I got to know you more from the radio and the media work last season, but or this season even. Obviously it's a new season for you, but we're still in the same season. But it kind of struck me that that what you had at Luton, you're kind of that personality, you like that kind of homely kind of environment, and you kind of found that here at Derry, I think. And the way you feel about Luton, I'm sure you feel that kind of way about Derry City as well, which I'm sure we'll come on to talk about.
Yeah, there was a lot of similarities in it, in the two clubs, and it felt it was COVID, wasn't it? So it was all a bit weird and a bit uncomfortable, but I think just playing football in a time like it was in COVID, when the world was we didn't know what was going to happen. I think I was just very happy to be playing football and playing at a good level, and then you kind of not fall on your feet, but you realise how big of a club Derry is. So I was very happy to be there. Yeah.
There's a few questions here coming about Derry City, and I will get to them questions. We're just going to speak just to the final wee part about where Cameron came from. So obviously you left Luton and you went to Stoke before you made the move to Derry. So how did that come about, you leaving Luton? Because Luton obviously very close to your heart, and you end up at Stoke. How did that all kind of come about?
It was to be honest, it was totally out of nowhere. I was at Luton as a second year scholar. So that year you find out if you're going to get kept on for a pro. And I was like, I don't know, to be honest, because Luton were pushing money into it and pushing for promotions and all this, that and the other. And you're like, well, they're not, unless you're absolutely outstanding, you're not really going to play. And I was like, I didn't know what was going to happen really that season. And then got a call on deadline day from the academy director saying, "You're right, Cameron, how you doing? I'm just a soldier to Stoke." And you're just like, blimey. So it was all a bit of a shock. And all a bit of a shock. And I had one of them, no choice in the matter, just off you go. And it was obviously Premier League club at the time, so you're never ever going to say no. So it was it was a bit of a whirlwind shock, but and spent a few years at Stoke.
How would you compare your time at Stoke to your time at Luton? Was there big differences to the two?
Huge. Don't even count. Huge differences. I was a little kid at Luton who were in the conference for 5 years and League Two for a few years. The training ground was a porta cabin in a public park. You'd finish your training and lads are going on and playing cricket and their own little way aside. And then you're doing all your jobs every day, like blowing up the balls, cleaning first team boots, cleaning the change room, making everyone tea and coffee. You're getting the scraps of first team lunch, just whatever they've left, and then you go to Stoke and everything's just handed to you. All the facilities are there, and every day you're going into a world class facility, really. And everything's done for you. Your kit's there, and kit's there every day. Your own kit man for each team. Do you know what I mean? And your own physios. And it was just a different world, really. And,
different stratosphere completely.
Yeah.
So anyone you became kind of friendly at Stoke, went on to do great things, or you're still in contact with anyone that kind of around your age came through the same time as you?
Yeah, you know how it is. You're friendly while you're there, and then you lose contact with a lot of lads and stay close with just a few. So, but at Stoke there was obviously Tyrese Campbell, Harry Suter. Loads of lads. You have them all on Instagram now. They're all doing football. Most of them are still doing football, and be really friendly with Lassie Sorensen, who's at Huddersfield now. And every now and then you get a little happy birthday or a how you doing with some of them. But yeah, there was the crop of talent at Stoke was big. So there's loads of lads still having Instagram, stay in contact with and playing football, yeah.
Yeah, so you were at Stoke, you were Premier League club at the time, obviously, in the youth system. And then you come to Derry City in 2020, as you say, during COVID. So you'd never been in Ireland before playing football. I think it's definitely not at this level anyway. So how did that come about in the end? And I suppose when you probably thought you were coming here, you probably thought COVID, need to play, hopefully have a couple of good seasons and I'll get back to England. But it probably went a different way and a way you didn't expect, but probably a way that you could never have imagined. And it turned out to be a wonderful experience for everybody, yourself, the club, the fans. And I mean, everybody always says you're one of the adopted sons of Derry City. You're very popular here. And people are always asking about you. So it went a really, really special way, which we'll talk about. So in the lead up to that, Stoke City to Derry City, how does that happen?
The world shut down and I got let go by Stoke, which I was fully expecting. I was out of contract and I wasn't in the first team at all, really, not in it. And so I was fully expecting, and I wanted to be let go, really, so I could try and push on and see what I could do. But then obviously the world was shut down, so I was just keeping myself fit. And then in the summer, I think July, August, got a message from my agent saying, "What do you reckon to what Derry?" And I was like, to being completely honest, I don't know too much. But I thought, why not? Because it was that time. We just, nothing was happening with.
I suppose the way you looked at it as well, it was a good opportunity for first team football because you wanted to play at a level where you were getting regular first team football and you were playing in the Irish League. It was the Premier Division of Ireland. And I suppose we'll speak about you're in League Two, the differences, and we can maybe get into that later on. But suppose you looked at it and thought, I just need to get out and play. And you came here and it went really from strength to strength for everybody involved.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I came with the intention of what you said, of just play as many games as possible in a short amount of time, and hopefully the experience holds me in good stead to go back to England, really. And then when I got there, I thought, oh, I've done all right there. And then the next season came around, and unfortunately Declan Devine went and Roy Higgins came in, and then I think it was when the world started opening up again and you realised how big Derry is when the fans started to get involved again. And then, as you said, went on from there.
2 seconds, Cameron. I'm going to bounce you out and bounce you in. I've lost you in the audio here. 1 second. Go ahead now, you're now.
Can you hear me all right now?
1 second. It should be us now.
Can you hear me better now?
Perfect. Sorry, go ahead.
That's right. I was just saying, I went to Derry with the intention of just playing as many games as possible to hold me in good stead to come back to England or make a career for myself. And then and it was COVID, so it was all a bit quiet. And then I think I obviously stayed for the next season, and then the world started opening up again. And then the fans and everything, the atmospheres at each ground came back, and it was it went on from there.
What do you make of the Brandywell atmosphere? Because a lot of people say it's brilliant, and where you stayed here, obviously, but like compared to maybe playing where you are now, or maybe played in the past, is it a really, really special atmosphere to play under?
When it's rocking, yeah, it is special because it's like that. It's not a horseshoe, but it feels a bit like a horseshoe. When that's bouncing, it does like ring through your ears, and no, it is good. It is really good when it's rocking. Yeah, it's just just need to close the gaps so the wind doesn't blow.
Somebody's put a comment, and I've got one eye on the Spurs game. I do actually, and I can tell you're down to 10 men already. Spurs have a man sent off.
Down
to 10 men, and it was only kicked off 10 minutes ago, so they're down to 10 men already. So Cameron, of course, you come here during the COVID season. The fans come back, and Derry are going from strength to strength. Of course, they're competing in the league. Obviously, a couple of back-to-back seconds in the league, FAA Cup one, which we'll talk about. So I suppose when you signed for Derry, it probably, when you signed, Rory Higgins probably wasn't on the door. I'll be correct in saying that?
No, it was Declan Devine,
Declan. So Rory comes in and things go from strength to strength. Of course, Paul Bedordy invests a lot of money in the club, and you see players like Patrick McElhinney, Michael Duffy, you have like Pat Hooven, and all of a sudden there's a lot of excitement around. And was that one of the reasons that maybe, I don't know how you were feeling at the time after COVID, but was that one of the big reasons that you were kind of happy here and settled because you could see the team going from strength to strength?
Yeah, of course, yeah. I think you always want to be involved in something that is driving towards success, and that's what it felt like when I decided to decided to stay and sign a new contract. So, I think like whether I know Fats, Mickey, and Herman came last year, and everyone came, but even before those lads came back, you could feel that the atmosphere was trying to be successful, if you know what I mean. And so that's what made me stay. And from that half season, we finished 7th or 8th or something, and then with Rory Higgins and finished 4th and you just felt like it was.
They beat Dundalk in the last away game. They finished 4th. The last game, and they finished 4th. It was big in the end. Of course, there was a poor enough start to the season after, and then Rory came on. I'll be right with that.
Yeah, that's right.
How was that at the time? How was that at the time when Decky had done brilliant the year before, finished 4th in the league, and he was sacked pretty quickly after, it was about 5 or 6 games, I think, under the season. And Rory came on pretty quickly after that. How was that at the time for the players? Because you probably thought that Decky and things were going well before the season started.
Well, I came when we had like 10 games left. I think even like 7 league games left, and we just we flirted with relegation in that COVID season, and then it wasn't great, to be honest. And then Declan Devine was like, "Nah, things will get better." So I stayed, and things were much better, and it's just the results didn't come. And it felt like, I think we got 2 draws after a few losses, and we felt right. Like, you felt like it was coming, and then the club made the decision to make a change. So
Spurs just scored there, the 1-0 up. That's why I'm looking at the screen there, but I'm listening at the same time. Was that a big shock to the players at the time? Of course, the club made the decision, but were you surprised by the decision they sack him?
I was surprised because the atmosphere was a lot better, and it felt like we were getting better and better. But then, never a massive shock when the result. We had 4 losses and 2 draws, So it wasn't a massive shock, but I was surprised because I thought Declan Devine would have more time, considering it felt like the performances were getting better and better. So.
Yeah, and of course Rory comes on then, and things went really from strength to strength. It was it was competing for fourth, and then it was now challenging Shamrock Rovers. And when Rory came in, there was that wee bit of a started well and things went so. Like, what was the main differences we'd say between the two? From obviously every coach is different, but what would you say the main two differences were?
I think when Rory Higgins came in, anyway, like he just made it. I think because we were struggling, he just made it so simple. I remember the first game was Sligo away, and he said to us, the only tactic we're going to do is, or think about, is Kieran Harkin and Jack Malone. You're going to be the 2 sixes sitting, and you're not. I don't want you ever more than 10 yards away. If you two do that, we'll win the game. And I remember it was like, you're like, oh, that's very simple. And then like 10 minutes into the game, I remember thinking like, Jack and Jackie haven't been more than 10 yards apart, and Sligo haven't had a sniff. And then it got to like, I think we won 1-0 anyway, and then I remember like second half, I think even when we went 1-0 up, I was like, they're not going to score because Jackie and Jack Malone look so, like, we look so comfortable because of those two being so close together. And yeah, I remember the first game, I was like, oh, that was just it. That was too simple.
People will laugh at that, but sometimes when a team, obviously I coach myself at youth level, but sometimes when a team is struggling, if you come in, we've seen it with like Wayne Rooney at Birmingham, where they were under a different coach, and he come in and tried to make it too complicated, and eventually got sacked very shortly after. So sometimes managers can make those first mistakes by making it too difficult, and the players are low in confidence, and there's a struggle. Whereas, as you say, 4 losses, 2 draws, haven't won a game, and you sometimes need to just go back to basics and find that confidence again for your victories, and then you can start to build bridges and get back to where you want to go. And sometimes people don't realize that, but it is smart management.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, like you say, when you're low on confidence, and if a manager came in and gave us all 100 different instructions to do, you'd be like, "Oh, Jesus, don't know, like, well, I'm struggling to kick a ball here. Never mind do 100 tactics." So yeah, like you say, yeah, it was just back to basics, kind of simple stuff, but like one clever little simple tactic that made a massive difference in the game. And then we got the win, and then from there. Not that things got complicated, but I remember Rory added just little tweaks here and there, and added to all the tactical stuff. And then I think once we knew that we could really climb the table and win games, we started to work on styles of play and all of that sort of thing. And then obviously seasons after, when different players came in, built on from there.
Would you say that's one of Rory's strongest assets, his tactical work?
Yeah, definitely, because he came from being Ireland's opposition analyst, and as soon as you could tell his knowledge of the game and everything like that was top. Like, when he in video, showed us like little details and little tweaks and simple solutions to a team's threats that you go, oh, that's actually quite simple, yeah.
Of course, we'll talk about the European experiences and the FA Cup one, but we'll reflect on the maybe downer moments first before we come to the positives, get these out of the way. But of course, ran Shamrock Rovers close very twice. Of course, they're a fantastic team. What do you think the reasons he couldn't get over the line in those 2 seasons? And we're hoping this year it'll be different for Derry City. Of course, Shamrock Rovers not out of it, but Shelbourne's seen as the team they have to hunt down at the moment. But what was the main differences you think that season? Maybe squad depth, a wee bit more quality, or do you think maybe at times that Derry maybe had the opportunities, they didn't take them, a wee bit of lack of experience? What would you put it down to?
I think it's just a mix of everything, really. A mix of all those things you just said. Like, I remember, we had 2 really good starts to those seasons before this, and I think probably, I don't know, probably. You think, oh, blimey, like after 6 games, you think, all right, we should win. And I think that probably caught up with us, whereas if you don't even think about it, I think you probably just keep on playing a bit more freely and don't let them catch up and get more results and all those sort of things. So yeah, I can't really feels so long ago now, especially after leaving halfway through this season. Yeah, I remember having the really good starts, being top of the league after 6, 7, 8 games, and you're suddenly just personally anyway, you're thinking, oh, like we should win it here, but it's way too early to even for that to even cross anyone's mind. So, but probably put pressure, and maybe other lads are thinking it as well. Maybe put pressure on ourselves, and then it killed us in the long run. Yeah.
Do you think, not just with Derry City in those 2 years, but we see it a lot sometimes? We even seen it with Spurs last year in the Premier League at the very highest level, where teams can maybe play their best football too early in a season or start too strong, and then it's you start to fade away a wee bit. Whereas I think Derry this year are now starting to peak possibly at the right time, where they're churning out the results. And of course, beating Shelbourne in the cup was a big one there a couple of weeks ago. But I suppose as you talk about them seasons where they started very strongly and had a bit of a gap, and then they fell off a wee bit. Is that something that can happen in your experiences in the game? That sometimes teams can maybe play their best football too early in the season?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that definitely happens. Like you hear all the time that teams usually win leagues because they've hit form at the right time, and that right time is always towards the end of the season.
Man City's a perfect example of that. Come January time, they just turn on the overdrive, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I'm not making excuses for us losing those leagues, but in the end, Shamrock Rovers won them quite comfortably. So when we were far ahead at the start, so yeah, that is one reason maybe of, like you say, just form at the wrong time maybe, and form at the wrong confidence at the wrong time. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, there were still successful memories on those 2 seasons, finishing second to Shamrock Rovers, of course, the FA Cup one. But before I come to that, because you had a big role in that Cup one in the final, the European experience galvanised a lot of not just the Derry City fans, but the Derry City kind of, people that maybe aren't, hardcore, but, they're from Derry and they were getting involved. Everybody wanted to get the Brandywell. Even people were trying to get halfway across the world. They watched Derry City in places that it was impossible nearly to get a flight stay directly anyway. And I remember the Coops game at home, and obviously the away game you'll remember as well, playing on it. But that European experience was really special, and it kind of put Derry back on the map again because they haven't been that far for a long time, and the penalty shootout was heartbreak, but what a run it was, and I mean it's great to see. It was great to see Derry back on the big stage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was. Because to be honest, I think at the time, it's a year ago now, for months I tried to play it down. That was.
Sorry, Cameron, go ahead there. I think I've lost the audio there completely. Are you on mute or anything? No. Can you hear me okay? I can't hear you at all. Can anyone else hear Cameron, or is it just me? Don't know if it's on your side or my side. Anyway. Yeah, you can hear me. Can you hear me? Just me. Right. Can you hear me now? Completely low. I can't hear you at all. Two seconds, Cameron. I'm going to have to try and fix this here. There we go. Any better? 1 second. Go ahead, Cameron. I can't hear anything at all here. I wonder what's happened there. Because it went all fuzzy and then it just completely cut out. That any better, camera? Any better now? Sure, end. That's my end then. There's something happened here on my end. I don't know where I've lost audio completely here. Any good, camera? No. That's my end. That's my end. Still. going to see if I can put these. I'm going to see if I can put these earpods on this. This might help. Right. Hopefully, I can hear you now. No, no. I don't know what's going on there. I've restarted, done a ring. I've just tested audio out on the laptop, and there's music playing through it, but for whatever reason in this stream, it just completely cut out on me. Just check these settings here, but I don't think anything's. I haven't clicked anything, so I can't see why it ain't wrong. Go ahead there, Cameron. No. I'll pop it over to my phone. I'll finish it on my phone. That's what I'll do. Go ahead there, Cameron. I still can't hear you. I can only think there's an issue with the stream on my side then. That's the only reason, because there's no way all these devices aren't working. Has to be something with the stream now. Cameron, I think we're going to have to end it there, sir. I can't hear anything on this side at all. There must be a problem with the stream. From what I can see, people can hear you and hear me, but I can't hear you at all. So I can't even. I'll be totally disengaged. I can't hear you at all. No. Um, I can't hear you at all. No. 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 I can't hear you at all I'll have to end the stream here, and I'll give you a buzz in 2 minutes here, right? Apologies, folks, but this has never happened this before. But I tried different devices here, and I can't hear anything at all. So we can only assume there's some sort of problem with streaming this side. That like cut out audio at one stage there. But it was able to be fixed, but unable to be fixed now. So we'll have to end it there and possibly do the second part of the podcast another time. But Cameron, I'll give you a buzz now. Thanks very much. It's been great having you on. Apologies for this now.